We've got so many supporting characters nowadays, and a lot of them deserve their own stories sometime soon. The MCU has introduced a long list of names from the comic books that have proven to be big hits with the fandom at large. The big question is, which ones deserve to get their own solo movie or series? Stick with us as we go through some of the MCU characters that deserve their own outing in the universe's community. And make sure you stay until the end to see if any of your favorites get a mention on the list. Number 12, Drax. Dubbed as Drax the Destroyer, this character joins Peter Quill and other questionable characters in creating the Guardians of the Galaxy, then coming back for Volume 2 and also appearing in Infinity War and Endgame. We know from what we're told in the first Guardians movie that Drax had a wife and daughter that were killed by Ronan the Accuser.
You killed my wife. You killed my daughter.
This sent Drax on a mission of revenge, wiping out all loyalists and people in line with Ronan and his cause. A movie or series centered on Drax's journey to how he winds up in that prison in Guardians definitely has legs for a fun-filled, action-packed story. Number 11, John Walker. First appearing on screen in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Walker became the new Captain America in the wake of Steve Rogers disappearing and Sam Wilson turning his shield over to the government. However, after a rocky experience as Cap, and even taking the super soldier to no one's knowledge, Walker found his career on the down and out. That is until, let's just call her Val for time purposes, offers Walker a chance to still do some good as a US agent, turning him into his comic book accurate alter ego. Though we can expect the character to appear in 2024's planned Thunderbolts movie, it would be great to see the exploits of Walker between the events of Falcon and the Winter Soldier and that film. It would be exciting to see basically a darker version of Captain America in action. Number 10, Valkyrie. Also introduced in Ragnarok, Valkyrie first appeared on our screens as a disgraced individual who has become an alcohol-fueled scrapper on Sakaar, working for the Grand Master, a far cry from being a legendary warrior on Asgard. Since then, she has become a loyal friend of Thor and has even become ruler of New Asgard on Earth.
You being serious?
This character has a lot of front and center potential, and so it stands to reason that Kevin Feige and co. probably do have some sort of long-term plans. It would be great to see her bored in her day-to-day activities as a ruler, whilst also getting whisked into some sort of adventure. Number 9, Isaiah Bradley. We found out in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier series that a black super soldier was created in the 1950s and was actively working for the US military in secret. Afraid of the ramifications, should his existence have become known in that era, he was imprisoned for 30 years and experimented on, then being relocated to Baltimore to live a quiet life after his death was fabricated. To see how this character was in his prime and to watch his story unfold would be very interesting to see and would hold a powerful message. Of all possible MCU spin-offs, this one should be near the top of the list. Number 8, Yondu. The kind of adopted father of Peter Quill who kidnapped him from Earth with the instructions of delivering him to his father, but instead kept him to raise as his own surrogate son and fellow Ravager. Though Yondu sadly perished in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, that doesn't mean we can't flash back to his misdeeds and activities in the time of Peter Quill's adolescence. Number 7, Odin and Hela. We find out in Ragnarok that Odin's firstborn was not actually Thor, but a daughter, Hela, the goddess of death.
I've missed you.
We know from the film that they both ruled with an iron fist and that Odin eventually had to imprison his daughter in order to control her darkness and bring peace to the 9 realms. We don't imagine it would be very likely to get Anthony Hopkins involved to make this a reality, but it is definitely an era of Asgard and Thor's family history that would be interesting to see. Number 6, Wong. Dr. Stephen Strange's fellow sorcerer was first introduced in Strange's origin story back in 2016. Since then, he's appeared in a multitude of MCU outings, almost earning his stripes as the new Nick Fury figure of the continuity. The character is also now the Sorcerer Supreme.
Wait, I thought you were the Sorcerer Supreme.
No, he got it on a technicality.
Oh, well, congratulations.
Which adds more reason to why Wong would fit perfectly into his own 6-episode Disney Plus series as we follow daily exploits with various MCU characters. Number 5, Yelena Belova. The adoptive sister of Natasha Romanoff and fellow Black Widow, Yelena definitely has the skills to offer up an action-packed adventure movie or series. Not only that, but her quirkiness and fascination with being able to live out her own life outside of the Red Room would make her a character that we'd fall in love with more than we already have. Like John Walker, it is hinted that the character will play a part in the Thunderbolts movie, But that's not to say that there isn't room for the character to go on her own adventures, maybe during the events of Infinity War? Number 4, Korg. Introduced in Thor Ragnarok,
My name is Korg. I'm kind of like the leader in here.
and making reappearances in Endgame and Love and Thunder, this big lump of rocks with the softest voice ever has grown to be quite a hit with the fans.
Oh, Mick, you're alive. He's alive, guys. What was your question again, bro?
So it stands to reason that this comical character would work quite well in his own story. True, the character would not suit having a movie. He probably wouldn't even suit having a series in the vein of the likes of Loki or Miss Marvel. We would probably expect him to get an episodic shorts like the upcoming I Am Groot series. It would definitely be worth watching him and Meek in their random escapades. Number 3, Harley Keener. We met young Harley in Iron Man 3 when a powerless Tony Stark crossed paths with him and the young man helped him get back on his feet. Years later at Stark's funeral, Keener makes an unexpected reappearance. We know from Iron Man 3 that this original character did have a level of affinity for engineering. This led a lot of fans to believe that he would somehow become the MCU's version of Iron Lad. Though it would completely skew away from the character's comic book biography, it would be nice to see the little boy who helped Tony Stark once following in his footsteps and without the money and technology at his disposal. Although, with the introduction of Riri Williams as Ironheart incoming, it would seem likely of this series or movie becoming a reality. Number 2, The Collector. Benicio del Toro helped to bring this character to life in the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie, then showing up again in Avengers Infinity War.
Magnificent! Magnificent!
As fans will know, his title derives from the fact that he collects and keeps a variety of items that he deems valuable. For such a charismatic and slippery character, a solo Disney Plus series maybe featuring him losing some of his prized possessions and trying to get them back definitely wouldn't go amiss. Number 1, The Mandarin. Teased since the very first Iron Man and finally being shown in full in Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, the Mandarin is arguably one of the biggest villains in Marvel's arsenal. In the MCU's continuity, we find that the Mandarin has been operating for thousands of years. What does this mean? Well, it means there is a lot of space for a Disney Plus series to be explored. The show could devote each season to a different era of the villain's existence throughout history. Marvel, Phage, I hope you're watching. With so many supporting characters making lasting impressions on fans, could it only be a matter of time before some of these actually are willed into reality? It's likely with how much potential the MCU has to keep on expanding. Obviously, we didn't have a chance to put all the characters we wanted to in the list, but if you think we've missed someone important, then make sure to let us know in the comment section below. Anyone also think that Howard the Duck would make for a fun solo story?
That is called a practical joke.
No? No one? Yeah, that was just a joke, obviously.